Welcome to our live demonstration measurement technology for hygienic applications. When we talk about non-contact level measurement, of course, radar is always the best choice. VEGA offers different radar solutions, and this is the point what we want to talk about today. My name is Jürgen. I'm with VEGA. This is my half of life, and together today I have my colleague with me, Marvin.
Yeah, welcome from my side as well. My name is Marvin and I am working with VEGA for almost a year in product management. Okay, let's start with our presentation. Radar sensors are used in every thinkable application all over the world. For the chemical industry, the food production, power generation, shipbuilding, or many other applications. Radar sensors make an important contribution to automation everywhere. They are suitable for liquids and also for bulk solids. Radar sensors can resist special challenges such as heat or high pressure, or even in bulk solid applications, abrasion or noise. Today we would like to focus on a specific area of applications. These are applications in which hygienic level measurement technology is mainly used. This is especially the case in the food and pharmaceutical industry. So let's look at some radar sensors that VEGA has to offer for this special area.
VEGA offers different sensor versions for hygienic applications. Both sensors have advantages in the different application areas. So both sensors in common have a unique hygienic housing design. We can use hygienic adapters that are fit perfect to your kind of application. And of course, we have all worldwide approvals. Our VEGA Pulse 6X fulfill also all requirements for the more demanding applications.
The other radar sensor we have in our portfolio is the VEGA Pulse 42. The VEGA Pulse 42 is a compact radar sensor that can be used primarily for simple to moderate processes.
So let's first have a short look on the VEGA Pulse 6X. What are special things on the VEGA Pulse 6X? So we have different antenna systems, we have different antenna dimensions, and we have different process connections. Not only process connections which fit perfect for the hygienic applications, we have also flanges, thread connections, but also plastic antenna, where we will see later. So we have different housings available. Of course, the typical housing in the food and pharmaceutical industry is the stainless steel housing, but also we offer plastic housing with a high chemical resistant, and of course also aluminum or very robust stainless steel casted housings. We can use a display, or we can use the sensor without display. And this display can be mounted not only on the top, also on the side, because you have also double chamber housing. Overall, it's a very universal sensor for all kinds of process conditions. As already mentioned, it's a two-wire sensor, and these have some advantages for the process industry. How the system is working, Marvin will demonstrate.
Yeah, as Jürgen already mentioned, the VEGA Pulse 6X is a two-wire sensor. The connection of the sensor is made via terminal component inside of the housing of the VEGA Pulse 6X. The output signal is typically a 420 milliamp signal. To visualize this, we have a short demonstration prepared here today. We have a small model here. You can see we have the two wires, the plus and the minus, and we also have a small display to visualize the current signal of the VEGA Pulse 6X. If we now move the sensor, which is supposed to simulate a change in level, we can see at the display that the current signal also changes. So I will do this now. I change the position of the VEGA Pulse 6X, and what we can see here on the display is that also the current signal is changing. Yeah, enough about the VEGA Pulse 6X. Let's take a closer look at the second radar sensor which VEGA offers for hygienic applications. Now let's take a look at the VEGA Pulse 42. The sensor is mainly used in simple and moderate process conditions. VEGA Pulse 42 is characterized by the following features. The sensor uses standard process connections such as 3/4 inch or 1 inch thread, and also a universal connection for hygienic adapters. The VEGA Pulse 42 has a 3-wire electronic with IO-link. The connection is made via the M12 plug, and also the sensor is available in various versions. So for example, with the 360-degree status indication and the plastic lid, also completely made of stainless steel and also with a display. All in all, the VEGA Pulse 42 is a very compact radar sensor, and the sensor can be used for simple to moderate applications. As already mentioned, the VEGA Pulse 42 is a 3-wire sensor. Jürgen, I think we should take a closer look how this works exactly in practice.
Yeah, this makes sense because in the factory automation, this is a common system, but in the process industry, this is not so often used. But we have now also sensors for the factory automation. So the IO-link is a special electronic which can be used for different kind of applications. We have the possibility to use with the sensor just a transistor output or 2 transistor outputs. And we have connected this transistor to these 2 LEDs diodes here that you can see it on the display. And we have used the same color as our light ring. If I change the distance, we will have a change here in the color as an indication, and we have the same color what we're using here on the transistor output. So if you want to have just a switch contact to switch a relay on, for example, for a valve, or just have a display, we can use direct these 2 transistor output signals. With the same electronic, it's possible to use, instead of 2 transistor outputs, we can use the second transistor output as a current output, as a 4 to 20 milliamp active current output. So here we have used the same sensor with the same electronic, just a different adjustment, and we can use the similar demonstration. On the light ring, we have this difference here, but we have also on the transistor output. But also, in addition, we have the analog output of the instrument. So 4 to 20 milliamp according to the height. So we have a continuous level measurement in this case. And of course, also a switch contact is available. Don't have to change the electronic, it's always the same electronic. And the third possibility is to use an IO-link master. And the sensor is connected direct to the IO-link master, and if the sensor is connected, the electronic found out immediately and switch off the other signals that just use a digital communication to the master. And the master, of course, is connected to a PLC system. Such an IO-link master normally offers different quantity of inputs, 4, 8 or more, and we have connected our sensor over here. Of course, we don't see any output signal because it's completely digital, but we have this function available with this light ring. The sensor is measuring the distance. The distance is transmitted to the IO-link master and to the PLC system. A digital communication offers additional advantages. So we have also status information, quality of the echo, for example, or the temperature of the electronic or something else. So we have more values available in comparison to just 420 milliamp or just a level switch. Very interesting with just one electronic. So now we have seen how we can connect the sensor. But what about the applications? Where can we use the sensor? So the sensor, all the sensors have a wide dynamic range. This means that it's possible to measure very small signals, bad reflecting conditions from some media. So of course, we can measure with these sensors water-based products. That is very easy. We can also measure emulsions, for example. But also it's possible to measure vegetable oil products with bad reflecting conditions because we have this big dynamic range. This means the sensor can be used in all kinds of liquid applications. But what about bulk solids?
Yeah, what about bulk solids? The measurement of bulk solids is also possible with both sensors, with the VEGA Pulse 6X and also with the VEGA Pulse 42. Typical applications are salt, sugar, flour or grain. Let's take a detailed look at the applications where the sensors are used. I want to start first with the applications where the VEGA Pulse 42 is used. The VEGA Pulse 42 is mainly used in small and medium vessels up to 15 meters measuring range. Typical applications are in small storage vessels, such as in filling machines, for example with beer or tomato juice. The VEGA Pulse 42 can also be used in vessels with agitators, for example in dairies. Let's take a look for the practical examples where the VEGA Pulse 42 is already been used. The first application example is from the sauce production. We have here an application with a small vessel. The medium is ketchup, and the VEGA Pulse 42 can easily be mounted on the vessel due to its very compact design. The 360-degree status indication can be adjusted up to 5 individual colors and up to 5 individual levels. The main advantage of the VEGA Pulse 42 is the non-contact measurement. When using a guided radar, often build-up occurs on the sensors and the sensor must often be cleaned. So with the VEGA Pulse 42, no cleaning is necessary.
So when we look about the other application, for example, demineralized water, this is used very often as a base product for the pharmaceutical and also cosmetic industry. Even demineralized water have very good reflecting conditions, very simple to measure with radar signals, so we get very good reflecting conditions. Even when the surface is a little bit rough, according to an agitator inside, we have very good results. So in this application, you can see a pressure sensor to measure overpressure, and of course also a VEGA Pulse 42. Here the big advantage is this very compact design because the vessel itself is not so big, it's very small, so it's possible to mount this radar device also in this very small tank. So non-contact level measurement have a big advantage, especially when there come different ingredients inside of the water. Another application is also interesting. Here they mix cocoa butter with other ingredients, for example chocolate powder or other things. And of course, there is an agitator inside, and you get some splashes, and the surface inside of the tank is completely covered with some buildups. Even with this buildup, the sensor works reliably. The big advantage of the sensor here, the compact design, of course, and the hygienic design mainly, because in between these different processes, the sensor and the tank can be cleaned in a very easy way. But let's have a closer look on some practical things, how the sensor will work. So we have prepared here also a short live demonstration.
Yes, of course, that is a good idea to show how the performance of the VEGA Pulse 42 is in practice. As Jürgen already mentioned, we have prepared a short demonstration to show the performance of the VEGA Pulse 42. We have here a VEGA Pulse 42, and we also have some different media, so we have liquids and also bulk solids. To visualize the different levels, we have assigned the different colors of the 360-degree status indication, so the color will be changed when we change the level. Okay, let's start with our first medium. One application area is, as you have already seen, in the tomato production. So our first medium here is ketchup. Let's try if the VEGA Pulse 42 is able to measure this. And what we can see, the light ring is changing the color from green into blue. So the VEGA Pulse 42 can reliably measure this medium. Another application area is in the dairy production. So our second medium here is yogurt. And also here we can try if the VEGA Pulse 42 is able to measure this. And we can see when I change the level that also the light ring is changing its color from green into blue. And that means that the VEGA Pulse 42 is able to measure this. What my colleague Jürgen already mentioned is that our radar sensors, they have a very high dynamic range. So it is also possible to measure media with very bad reflective properties. One media which has not the highest reflective properties is oil. So our third medium here is oil, and we can try to measure this also. And what we can see, also oil is not a problem for the VEGA Pulse 42. Another application area is in the beverage industry. So we have here two drinks. The first one is beer, also with a little bit foam on it. But also this should not be a problem for the VEGA Pulse 42. And we can see also with the foam, it is not a problem to measure the beer.
Okay, I prefer wine, so it's my turn now. So we test if it's also possible to measure wine, and of course, wine is also a water-based product. It's very simple to measure. During the wine production, of course, sometimes wine is stored in very big, very large tanks, up to 15 meters. But even under these conditions, we can use this sensor. And also during the fermentation, sometimes there is some foam on the wine or on the liquid. It's not wine at this time. But this is also possible to penetrate with the radar signals. So we need a big dynamic range, even when you have sometimes water-based products, if there is some foam on the surface. But what about bulk solids? On bulk solids, you normally don't have a really flat surface. You have some structured surface. But also in this kind of application, we can use a radar sensor. And here we can also have a clear indication on these M&Ms or Smarties, chocolate, bonbons, very simple to measure. In the food industry, salt or sugar is something really common. So let's try salt. And also here we have very good results. Of course, you can imagine if we have some other applications where we need some bigger distances, or we have some bigger silos or products with bad reflecting conditions, we need something which have maybe a little bit bigger antenna. And therefore, we have also a solution. We have solutions with the VEGA Pulse 6X because here we can use a bigger measuring range up to 120 meters, and we have different antenna sizes available. So this sensor can be used also in big agitator tanks where we have sometimes a really rough surface, sometimes solvents inside with bad reflecting conditions. Sometimes we have really large bulk storage tanks, silos, like for grain, for flour, for salt or whatever. And of course, sometimes we have some liquids which have really bad reflecting conditions like solvents, where only a small amount of energy is coming back to receiver. For all these kind of applications, we can use the VEGA Pulse 6X because we can use also bigger antenna, and the dynamic range is even a little bit bigger. So let's have a closer look at which kind of applications we can use the VEGA Pulse 6X. So one typical application is a reactor. A reactor where a lot of different products are mixed together. Sometimes the reactors are quite big, and sometimes solvents inside will have bad reflecting conditions. So in this kind of applications, the VEGA Pulse 6X is really the best choice. The sensor offers all the X approvals for gas X and also dust X approvals. So we can measure these different materials under very easy conditions. And of course, with the sensors also we can offer all the hygienic certificates which are worldwide available.
Yeah, another application area is the dairy industry. So the level measurement in large whey tanks is necessary. This is a typical application with foam, but the measurement with foam is also possible for the VEGA Pulse 6X. Even valve seams and agitators are not a problem for the VEGA Pulse 6X. It is in every case possible to measure it with the VEGA Pulse 6X. The different antenna systems make a good focusing possible with the sensor in every application. Another application from the dairy production is the yogurt production. Here we have an application in zip storage tanks, and also here the measurement with foam is not a problem. Advantages of the VEGA Pulse 6X are the good focusing and the high dynamic range. So here in this application area, continuous level measurement optimizes the process. Jürgen, I think we should show our participants how the performance of the VEGA Pulse 6X in practice is.
Yes, of course, sure. We want to show you some practical applications. Of course, it's possible to measure all these products what we have measured already with the VEGA Pulse 42. Yogurt, oil, beverages, and also these bulk solids. It's getting a little bit more difficult if we have a bigger distance. And therefore, we have prepared also a new demonstration model with the VEGA Pulse 6X on the top. In this case, a plastic antenna with a bigger size. And the signal is going to the signal conditioning instrument, to the controller, where we have a really large display to show the level inside. We have made an adjustment from 0 up to 2.50 meters, so the ground floor is approximately at 14%. And now we have prepared different medias, which are not so easy to measure because they are very dry. So we have here wood pellets, and I put these medias below the sensor. Immediately we will have a change in the distance of the sensor. It's around 50%, approximately in the middle. These wood pellets are very dry, so the reflecting conditions are very bad, similar to animal food, for example. Let's have a closer look at my other product, which is common in the food industry. We have coffee beans. Coffee beans are very light, very dry, and also here the reflecting conditions are not very good. But also here we have a reliable measurement value. 54%. I lift up these coffee beans again because they are very light, and you can see the level is following this shorter distance, and we have nearly 70% now. Coffee beans are very light, very dry, and of course we have other products which have the same or similar reflecting conditions. For example, corn. We like corn for demonstration very much because it's the same color like VEGA. So let's put corn below. Again, here we have 54% because we have more or less the same level. The corn is also quite light and have a very small content of humidity inside. After the mill, of course, the corn or the grain is looking different, very fine flour. And here, of course, it's not only the reflective conditions of the product which are very low, also the conditions inside of a silo. We have pneumatical filling, a lot of dust, but the microwaves can penetrate the dust, so it's very simple to measure without any influence. So also 53%, I lift this also a little bit up because it's not so heavy. 60%, nearly 70%, depends on the distance. So in this kind of application, we need bigger antennas to get a better focusing, and therefore we use the VEGA Pulse 6X. In these big silos, the filling speed is not very fast. You can imagine it takes some time until such a big silo is filled. But sometimes we have small tanks where the filling speed is completely different. And there are some advantages of the VEGA Pulse 42. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes, when we have small vessels, the VEGA Pulse 42 is the better choice. So now we have seen that the VEGA Pulse 6X can be used for a variety of other media compared to the VEGA Pulse 42. However, an essential advantage is what Jürgen already mentioned, that the VEGA Pulse 42 has a very high measuring speed. With a measuring speed of 18 Hz, the VEGA Pulse 42 measures very fast and is therefore particularly suitable for the use in small vessels with very fast level changes. How this works is also good to take a look in practice, and for this we have prepared another live demonstration. We have here a special vessel. So this vessel has a very small tank diameter, and there is a large valve behind the vessel, so we can emptying the vessel very fast. We have different sensors mounted at this vessel. So on the top we have our VEGA Pulse 42 for continuous level measurement, and we have also 2 point level switches, our VEGA point sensors, and we have one pressure sensor, the VEGA bar, for hydrostatic pressure. So we have assigned the level of the light ring to different colors. So what we can see now, the first point level switch and the VEGA Pulse 42, the light rings have the same colors. When we emptying the vessel now, please keep attention to the light rings, because that is an indication how fast the sensors are. So I will start to emptying the vessel up to the first level switch, and as already mentioned, keep attention to the light rings of the sensors, how fast they change their color. Ready? So what we have already seen is that the VEGA Pulse 42 and also the VEGA point, the level switch, have changed their color from purple into green, and also the VEGA Pulse 42 was able to follow the level very fast in comparison to the VEGA point. Now I will refill the vessel again, and then I want to show you, when we're emptying the full vessel, how fast the sensors are. Keep attention again to the light rings of the sensors, especially to the VEGA Pulse 42 in comparison to the 2 point level switches. Ready? So what we have seen, we had a very fast level change in this vessel, and the VEGA Pulse 42 is able to follow this level very fast, also in comparison to the point level switches. This would be not possible with our previous radar sensors, because these sensors are too slow. Now we have seen that the measuring speed is an essential advantage of the VEGA Pulse 42. Let's take a closer look what both sensors have common.
Yeah, both sensors have common that they have a hygienic design, of course. They have stainless steel housings, so we can use it in the hygienic area. And of course, we have our hygienic adapters to mount the sensor on the different applications. And as we mentioned before, we have all worldwide approvals for the pharmaceutical and food industry. How this adapter system is working, let's have a closer look, because it's not only for the radar devices. We can use this adapter system also for our other instruments from the basic line. So we can use the sensors for level switches, our VEGA point, vibrating probes. We can use it for the VEGA bar. And so it makes it very universal for all kind of hygienic applications. So the sensor can be mounted on the same adapter system in a very simple way. Let's have a closer look how this adapter system is working and how it's looking like.
Yeah, as Jürgen already mentioned, we have the hygienic adapter system for our different sensors. And now I want to show you live how this works. We have here a VEGA Pulse 42 with the special G1 universal thread for the hygienic adapter system with the O-ring sealing, and the other side I have a hygienic adapter. It is a clamp adapter, and now I want to mount this to the VEGA Pulse 42. And what we can see here, it fits perfectly to this sensor. As Jürgen already mentioned, the adapter system is not only suitable for our radar sensor, no. The adapters are also suitable for our other compact devices. So here I have a point level switch, our VEGA points, also with the G1 universal thread for the hygienic adapter system, also with O-ring sealing. And also here we can mount this adapter, and you can see it fits perfectly. But not only for our compact devices is the hygienic adapter system suitable. Also for our VEGA Pulse 6X we can use the same adapter system.
This makes it very easy to keep this adapter for your typical processor connection on stock, and you just need the adapter and then you can exchange the instruments like you want. So here we have the adapter system mounted on the VEGA Pulse 6X. Fits in the same way. We have the same principle like on the other sensor devices. Sometimes it makes sense to have a bigger antenna. When we talk about difficult process connections, difficult process conditions, sometimes we have products which have very bad reflector conditions, very agitated surface. So we have also a little bit bigger adapter. The same principle, but bigger size, not 1 inch like here, we have 1.5 inch, and in the area, the antenna system, of course, can be bigger. It's approximately 3 times the antenna size. So we get a better focusing, we get more signal back to receiver. But the principle itself is exactly the same. We have the sensor, which can mount it very simple to different antenna systems, and then we have a better focusing and a higher signal strength for the coming back. So also here, it's very simple to use this adapter system. You can save a lot of money when you just have your processor connection on stock, and you can use the sensor in a very simple way. Adjusting the sensor is mounting the sensor is one point, but of course the sensor have to be adjusted once. At least you have to adjust the 0 and 100% point to get the right current output, or a switch contact, for example. How is this working?
Yeah, operation is a good keyword, Jürgen.
Yeah, let's have a closer look how we can mount the sensor or how we can adjust the sensor. And this is very simple because all of the sensors have Bluetooth technology inside. And so it's possible to use the smartphone in a very simple way or a tablet PC and make the complete adjustment. And how this works, we want to have a closer look.
Yes, we want to show this with our VEGA Pulse 42 from the beginning.
We have seen that we have adjusted the light ring with different colors according to different distances. I just use the white maybe, and here we have green color, and if I come closer, we have this blue color. And I think it's very simple to change just the blue color to something else.
Yes. I have here my tablet, and I have connected my tablet via the VEGA Tools app. This is the operation app from VEGA to this sensor, to the VEGA Pulse 42 via Bluetooth. So now we can change the color of the 360-degree status indication. It is quite easy. We go to the menu, to the 360-degree status indication, and then we can change the color here, maybe in an individual color if you want. So it's very easy. Now maybe we should change it into red if you want. So, and now I think
Yep.
the color is red, and yes, it is. So you can change the color into your preferred color, and that is very, very easy with our VEGA Tools app and with the compact devices via Bluetooth.
So very simple to make this adjustment with a universal tool like your smartphone or tablet. So let's summarize what we have seen today. We have two different sensors, and let's have a closer look at the VEGA Pulse 6X. VEGA Pulse 6X is a sensor from the Pro series. And what is special there? We have a sensor which have a two-wire technology, two-wire wiring, either analog 4 to 20 milliamp with hard signals superimposed, or some digital communication like preverse PA or foundation field bus. In the future, Ethernet APL will be something which will be standard also. It's suitable for all kind of X areas, gas and dust X. It's possible to use in a big variety of different applications, big tanks, storage tank, agitator tanks, and so on. The sensor can be used for liquids, but also for bulk solids, even in big silos. And we have antenna systems for all kind of demanding process conditions, high pressure, vacuum, high temperature, very low temperature, or freezing areas. All hygienic adapters are available, but not only the hygienic adapters, we also have a lot of different process connections. And of course, the sensor fulfills all universal requirements which are necessary worldwide.
In comparison to the VEGA Pulse 6X, we have our compact radar sensor, the VEGA Pulse 42 for hygienic applications. The VEGA Pulse 42 is a device of the basic series of VEGA. The sensor has a free-wire electronic with IO-Link, and the sensor has Bluetooth for adjustment. The sensor can be used for liquids and also for bulk solids from small to medium vessels. The sensor is made for simple to moderate process conditions and with a quick measurement cycle of 80 Hz. Also, the hygienic adapters are available, and all hygienic worldwide approvals are available for the VEGA Pulse 42. One special thing what we have with the VEGA Pulse 42 is the 360-degree status indication, which is available for the visualization of different level points. That is what we already have seen in our different live demonstrations.
So let's summarize what we have seen. No matter what medium you want to measure, VEGA has always the right solution, not only for continuous level measurement, also for level switches and pressure. The Pro series means that we have a sensor for the most demanding applications, which covers a very wide range of all kinds of solutions, for all kinds of medias, for all kinds of applications. Each sensor is tailor-made for your application, your process connection, and your different requirements, what you need on the application.
Yeah, in comparison to our Pro devices, we have our basic devices. This means optimized measurement technology made by VEGA for standard processes and basis application. Available not in all, but in all important standardized versions, and also with many connections options. Every sensor of the basic line is very easy to integrate and quickly ready for operation. So now let's have a look at our chat to see which questions we haven't answered yet. I think I can start with the first question, Jürgen.
Sure.
There's a question about the measuring range of the VEGA Pulse 42 compared to the VEGA Pulse 6X. The VEGA Pulse 42 can be used for small to medium vessels up to 15 meters. This is the measuring range which the VEGA Pulse 42 has. In comparison, our VEGA Pulse 6X can be used for very high and large vessels, big silos for example, up to 120 meters. With the VEGA Pulse 6X we have the bigger antennas, so that is also possible to measuring a very, very high range.
Maybe just to add the accuracy of the sensors, when we talk about the VEGA Pulse 6X, we have 1 millimeter accuracy, and with the VEGA Pulse 42, we have 2 millimeter accuracy, but also a very high accuracy over the whole range. Another interesting question is coming, what kind of powder or liquid applications a VEGA radar sensor cannot measure? Good question. We said it can be used everywhere. And this is really true. In the past, we always asked against the dielectric constant of the product, the reflecting conditions. The performance of the instruments improved in the last year really very much. So it's no need to ask about the products anymore. We can measure all kinds of products. There is no limitation anymore. The limitation will be in the process, for example. When you have a 0.5 meter foam, you get a big absorption. Of course, then it's very difficult to measure. When you have a lot of buildups, a few centimeter high conductive liquid, it's not possible to measure through. But for the most applications, the sensors will work really in a very easy way. I think I take the next one because it fits very good to the different applications. Please explain the dynamic range. How is the dynamic range, the definition of the dynamic range? It was a little bit short in our presentation. Dynamic range means the sensitivity of the sensor. What kind of big signals and what kind of very small signals is the sensor available to detect. If you have water-based product, you have very big signals. If you have oil products, you have very small signals. And this is designed or explained by the dynamic range. If you have a sensor with a big dynamic range, we can measure all kinds of products. Many sensors on the market have a very limited dynamic range, so they can be used only in water-based products. We can use also the sensor in oil products where we need a much bigger dynamic range.
Yeah, then we got another question. Is the VEGA Pulse 6X usable for gas and also for dust X application? Yes, it is. You can use the VEGA Pulse 6X for both X areas. So the VEGA Pulse 6X is certified also for gas X areas, but also for dust X areas.
Okay. Maybe one last question for the approvals, not the X approvals, more for the radio approvals. The radio approvals, of course, they are different in a lot of different countries. So we can offer our sensors also for different countries, and we have the possibility to select the country. And so this means the different regulations for the different areas worldwide. So the sensors are approved for different radio communication approvals worldwide. In some countries, there are not any really detailed regulations. So there we have the standard adjustment, but in some countries where we have special regulations, we can also switch the sensor frequency and the bandwidth according to these regulations. This is possible. Another question often appears, are these radio signals dangerous? No. If you use a smartphone, you get much more electromagnetic fields close to your body. We have to use very small signal strength, so there is no influence on the human body when you use such a radar device. Okay, thank you from our side. That's all questions. Thank you very much for your attention and of course also your feedback and your questions, and we're happy to have you here online. Thank you very much.
Yeah, also thank you from my side as well. Thank you for participating us, and also goodbye.
Bye.